Hey, what is going on? What is good? Welcome to the podcast. Correctly mistaken. Your boy Osei, alongside the homie Punch. Man, what's up, man?
So, brother, can't
Good week so far,
complain.
yeah. We
Say that
got.
again.
I said good week so far, yeah.
Yeah, man. It's been a pretty easy week. Pretty easy week.
That's what's up. Yo, what were you saying? Though? My bad, I cut you off.
Oh no, I don't. No, I was just saying I'm doing good. Hold on, I'm trying to clear my screen because when I downloaded this app, it made me do the little go to this app store and try to down. They're trying to sell me Norton and stuff right now. So
Well, or the anti spyware.
yeah, they do that to you too.
They try to do something. They try to throw something at you
Yeah,
or
they always try to sell me some shit, man. So I had to get it off the screen.
get you to do some bundle. And sometimes you ain't careful. You be like, oh, that might not be too bad.
Yeah, man. Fuck that.
Then you end up catching yourself, but then you get it. You don't use it as much, but then you get heated when you get that notification that your account got hit or whatever
Yeah,
the amount is. You like,
I've
what?
never gotten hit though.
But the account, you ain't got, cause you ain't get it though.
Hell no.
See, I've got it,
Nah,
not get
nigga.
it, and then it hit my account. I've been like, oh, damn, I'm not even using this joint. Or
Yeah.
I say, you know what, I do it. You know, they usually offer a free trial or something, and I'll
Yeah.
catch the free trial, and I'll forget.
And I'm really good at canceling free trials.
Uh,
It's like if you sign up for the free trial, you just cancel it immediately. You get to keep it till you're done anyway.
exactly, and I never.
I be on it now.
Oh
Hell,
my, yo, that makes so much sense.
you just
I've
cancel
never
it
thought
there. They
about
give you
it.
the full free trial anyway.
You are so right because every time I canceled,
Yeah.
they always say you got the subscription until
Until yeah,
and you don't get charged.
yeah, I cancel it immediately.
So like you'll get it, and then the minute you get set up, you cancel.
Yeah, I go find a way to cancel it. So I gotta find that shit later. I'm not gonna remember 6 days later to cancel this joint. You know they're not gonna say nothing. They're gonna ask you to confirm your subscription.
Or
Oh
you
no,
email like at 2 in the morning, reminding
get
you.
that Apple charge. Hell no.
Yeah, by the time you wake up, you done got like 10 other messages that's gonna be on top of that joint.
You just open your account and you $26 down. Nope.
That Yo, I never. That makes so much sense. I never thought about that because every time I've canceled, they always said I got it to that date. I never thought, and it's easier to do that than trying to remember. Just cancel it.
Yeah.
They let you cancel it as soon as you get it. You gotta wait like a day.
No, I just cancel it immediately.
That's
I
crazy.
cancel it immediately. They generally leave it open, you know. And if they don't do that, I don't want it anyway. Like it's too hard to get out of this joint anyway. So no.
Remember, it's an
Yeah,
email.
I mean, I find because a lot of times you don't know where you got to go to cancel something, and like when you only remember now, you got to search when you see it hit your account. Like, God damn it! So
That's
I go find that joint immediately.
I
I'm
never thought about that, yo. Cause I never. That's crazy.
I'm doing that immediately, bro.
Well, it looks as if I was. It was funny. This podcast was going to be where I was going to take this was going to be completely different in terms of how it was this morning compared to what it is now in terms of the tariffs.
Mm.
Because
Got yippy.
I love the fact how this man, this dude is wild, and now he
Goddamn
got a
idiot.
way to claim victory, yo.
Because the market shot back up 2,500 points. I mean, it still don't put $11 trillion back in the market.
But he's the one that had that shit all happen in the fucking first place,
And
and then
no policy still.
and no policy, no plan, no anything, and then he's trying to act as if a 90. Well, if those who to be clear, the tariffs that Donald Trump put across the board,
Mm.
global tariffs. It looked like every economist said what was going to go down, said what was going to happen. It was going to cause inflation. He was pushing forward pushing forward. But I think he was getting a lot of pushback. I think especially from his secretary, homeboy, Percent. I think Scott Percent,
Who?
the Treasury
The
Secretary.
Treasury Secretary?
Scott Percent, because you notice they had him on every morning before the
Mm,
market will open up to try to tell everybody to be cool because people in the business community were blown by him because he comes from Wall Street. And they were
yeah.
like, yo,
You know better.
you know better. Like, what are you doing? And I think he finally got through because this man was getting ready to tank the fucking economy. What, like you said, it's already been a lot of damage done. You said what, $11 trillion?
And they said $11 trillion in the last 25 days. Like 2,500 points don't matter.
No,
You saw David Portnoy lost $20 million.
yeah, he did say that.
$20 million. I don't give a damn who you are. If you cost me $20 million in a couple of days, I'm tight. I think it was Elon Musk though.
He was what?
Him and Peter Navarro, they going back and forth.
Oh, the homo. Yeah, because I mean, and yeah, I never say I agree with Elon Musk on anything, but this time I agree with him. I mean, he
Peter
was saying
Navarro's a dumbass.
that as a businessman, a guy that runs business and imports and runs international business as he was doing, and he needs to get the fuck back to doing it. But
Who, Elon?
yeah, he done shattered his reputation though. Like, what the fuck was
They
he
cost him 150 billion now.
crazy, man? What he
And I
did?
don't think he can call Donald Trump a dumbass, so he got to call someone close to him.
That's the thing. They always trying to attack. They don't want to attack the main dude, so they attack
They
everybody
can't.
else and not the one who's actually implementing.
Yeah, they
You
got
know,
to. Yeah, they got to attack his supporter who stands by the tariffs wholeheartedly. I mean, a little pain ain't never amount to $11 trillion.
but was it crazy though? If you heard the story, the report that he was using a gentleman by the name of Ron Vera to be his expert, his
Who?
economic expert, Peter Navarro.
For
He always
real?
cited this gentleman who was advising him by the name of Ron Vera. Come to find out, he was made up. Ron Vera comes out of the surname of Peter. It comes out of the name Peter Navarro. He made it up.
Dog.
And we use it as if he was getting advised by an economic expert by the name of Ron Vera, yo. It's crazy. And it's been confirmed and reported by the news outlets, said by pundits. And I mean, I think people don't understand. And I think there is no strategy. There was no plan. There was no, he was playing, everybody kept saying he's playing chess. No, he was not. He was legitimately blowing up the fucking economy off of strategies or off strategies that he thinks that works, but his strategies have proven to literally bankrupt 6 casinos.
Sure.
Like Punch, bro. Casinos don't get bankrupt. You know the
They're
old
in the business of
casinos.
collecting money.
Yeah, what does it say? The house always what?
Wins. That's
What
crazy. 6 casinos.
six? He's bankrupt 6 casinos, bro. In a in a business where the house is always fucking wins. How do you do that? How do you legitimately do that?
Tariffs.
That's nuts,
That is nuts.
bruh.
You don't think it was is more calculated than that? Like you just
No,
think he's just an absolute dumbass?
it's a dumbass. Bro, I'm telling you,
And that is crazy. Like he's not even robbing the poor to give to the rich. He's not like it's nothing more menacing than this dude's just an idiot.
it's an idiot. Now, obviously, now one thing I will say because of the fact of what the billionaire class wants in terms of them tax cuts, in terms of those tariffs across the board. And his plan was to probably much maybe if I said there was a backdoor plan was to probably tax the tariffs, get that more revenue, and use that revenue to offset that $5.5 trillion tax cut that they're trying to
And I
do.
think that was their goal.
I think that was their ultimate goal that they were looking to do. But in terms of just Donald Trump, of him having any plans, of him thinking shit through and what makes sense and what doesn't make sense, and what I'm gonna do here. You saw the formula that he used to calculate the fucking
It's a
tariffs.
fake formula, right? Like they said,
Like it was
it's not real math.
exports divided by what they brought in. Some crazy fucking formula that even makes sense.
Yeah.
The man, like if Donald Trump this time around 2.0, It's almost like Donald Trump reminds me of if you always say, "Man, if I could be president, what would I do?" And usually there used to be a time when you were a politician
Yeah,
or not a unless you were a politician or in that field, it was being president is hard to become. You can't be an outsider to coming out of nowhere and
yeah.
become president. Usually you have to be within the establishment. Donald Trump changed that up in terms of coming from the outside. But what he did when he got in 1.0 in his first term is that he still had adults like conservatives, but people that have fucking brains. Two
Actual professionals.
Yeah, like Rance Priebus,
Yeah,
John Kelly. I'm trying. I'm drawing a blank, but I can think of several other people he had during
yeah.
that first term that were people. And Rance Priebus was actually his first chief of staff, and then John Kelly was. So he had some people, some establishment people, and then General Mattis. He had his Secretary of Defense. People that didn't stay long, but whatever the case, he had people around him because he used a lot of the establishment figures. He came in as a Republican. They said, "All right,
Yeah,
you know what? We're gonna use our consultants, our people, get you around the right people." So when he said stupid shit like, "Can we like nuke a hurricane?" They were like, "No, you can't nuke a hurricane." When he said, trying to say, "Can we put an iron dome over America," which was bankrupt the country? No, you can't put an iron dome over America. Now, like you can't. And he might have said that even more recently, but now have a chance to actually bug on everything.
mhm.
But crazy, you get back in, but this time you just get rid of all the fucking guardrails, bro. Anybody that's gonna tell you no, anybody that's gonna try to tell you something that's going to try to advise you otherwise, you're like, nah. And you're like, look, if I was president, this is what I would do without anybody. And you
That's just
keep
wild.
doing it. What you say?
So that's just wild.
It's crazy. It, it's
Like,
it's nuts, man. It's how it's wild. You're right. It's just that the man has no rhyme or reason. It was just, look, I think tariffs work. I want to try them. Everybody's telling me no. It's going to be great. And then now people are thinking maybe it was some type of
plan.
plan because of the market. Cause people who maybe got rich off it. Maybe people who were like, well, let me just sell. Let
You
me
think
just.
somebody got rich?
That's what they're saying. Some people I saw CNBC. Sorkin was talking about hopefully could even seeing some trades. Looks like it was kind of murky in terms of what was going on with the market, and some Congress people were making some trades, and it kind of looked as if they
Oh,
had some
Congress
information.
people, man.
But it blows my mind because no shit. Like, what do you think is supposed to be when you have the regulators who are supposed to regulate Wall Street and or the stock market? Yeah, Wall Street too, but definitely the stock market. But they can also trade in the stock market. It's a direct conflict of interest.
Yeah.
I mean, it's direct. It has been like that for years, and it's just like, no, they can trade. Could congressmen and congresswomen can fucking trade. That's
Sometimes,
why Nancy
yeah.
Pelosi and them, that's a lot of times the way they grow their wealth.
Yeah.
They don't got no inside connections and no insider training information, trader information.
100%.
Come on, man.
They find this shit out way before everybody else finds it out. Somebody gonna sell something off. Someone's gonna consolidate, fire somebody. I,
Oh,
I just think it's amazing that all that money and you can't figure out like a solid idea. Like you just get in the presidency and be like, you know what? I just want to try some shit, see if it works.
that's literally, I just want to try it. Cause see, and what blew my mind, cause this is why he didn't have a plan, because you had something. That's why even with people who like Fox News and these people who were smart, who economists or people that were, one thing knowing and understanding we've been told for years by economists. This
Yeah,
versus this, if you do tariffs, high tariffs, consumer tax on the consumer, prices are going to go up. If you do that, this is what happens when tariffs happen, and it
yeah,
brings inflation, and inflation hurts prices go up. People stop having consumer confidence. It goes down, recession, jobs lost, in the dumps. Now they're saying, now people who know that, we've been told that by economists. Now these are the same people saying the same equation was happening, but this time the explanation was on Fox News, oh, well, this is just a reordering of the global trade. This
Yeah.
it was, it's the reordering of the global trade. Though, like, no worries. This is something where we have to understand what we're trying to do here, and this is a an opportunity to what's the word, to reshuffle the world market in global trade, and let's wait and see. What? Like, how do you go from the equation that you always told us what happens when this and this collide is a disaster? He's doing the same shit that all economists say, if you do this, a disaster. But the same people that were saying one way are now saying, well, no, we'll wait and see. It's a reordering of the global order of the trade deal. It's a reorder. It's like, what? You could just tell the bad faith and how much they lie and just the propaganda, bro. It's like, dog, it's not about this. It's their hacks, like Benny Johnson. You know what I'm saying? Like Benny Johnson. I posted on him on my on Insta, only the noble, how he talked about literally in 2025. Because this stuff was going down, the markets were tanking, and people were losing money and 401ks. The other day, he's on there talking about, well, losing money. Everybody loses money. It's a part of life. Especially when you're young or dumb. Actually, basically, I'm paraphrasing too. It actually shows your grit. It really shows it. He's a right wing commentator, million followers, big base guy that used to write for BuzzFeed, but then got caught with some plagiarism. And up going right wing, getting a following. Benny Johnson, hack, fucking hack. A partisan hack. Because then in 2024, last year, when I think the market had a rough day, it was a day during the Biden campaign last year, and it was during the campaign when Kamala was running for president. They had one bad day, and the market dropped for some kind of reason. I can't know why. He came on the air and said, "Oh, the Kamala crash has started. The markets are crashing. People are losing their 401ks. People are using their money. We got to do something about it now." They go from that to saying, well, come on, guys, losing money. Everybody loses money.
Keep a cool booty, y'all.
Keep it cool, especially when you're young and dumb. It's like, get out of here. It's like, bro, it's like, how do these people get any following that people look at them and be like, oh, after you see clips like that, they constantly get their shelf just exposed for the hacks that they are.
You know why they get away with it? And I feel like you should be allowed to go on mainstream media and say that. It's because Americans are dumbasses. Right?
Well, I mean, it's true. I mean, I think they said something like half of Americans 18 and older read at like a fifth grade level.
Yeah, and son, there's a lot of illiterate adults.
Bro, literally, I mean, and if you can't read the
you can't comprehend.
You can't comprehend.
Period.
So, I remember they were literally going out. Somebody was watching a reel, and they were asking people on the street, like, how many United States senators we have? They were like, 6.
I don't even know how many we got, but I know it's more than that. I know it's more than that.
Got 100. We got 400. We have 435 congressmen and 100 senators, so 535 total.
So it's always 50-50. Okay.
Two senators a state, which is bullshit. It really just gives opportunity for filibustering the Republicans to have minority rule, because
they can't
even though
goddamn
most like 60-70% of the territory is covered in the country by Republicans. I mean, I'm sorry, by Democrats. Meaning the more areas, because there are the rural areas like Montana. Like Montana gets 2 fucking senators. North Dakota, South Dakota get
6,000 people.
You know what I'm saying? Everybody lives in hell, even Texas, New York, California,
DC,
nobody
yeah,
lives up
man.
there, but they get
The
represented.
coastal areas, yeah.
And usually those rural areas are what usually
What?
Republican dominant. So
White Republicans.
they're able to keep their fucking seats, even though they have like half the fucking like
It's
Wyoming.
DEI.
Like, bro, I don't even know who the senator from Wyoming is. We have one.
Yeah.
I don't even know who the fuck he is or she.
Yeah. It's
You know, I,
absolute DEI is what it is.
they they straight DEI.
Yeah,
That
they,
because it's all well really over there in Montana or South Dakota. Yeah, I guess. Well, it would be DEI if it was a black person, right? Or is it
no,
DEI?
white people, white women get more
Oh, I'm sorry.
DEI.
Hey, bro, I'm
It's
tripping.
just overrepresentation of people
I
that
forgot.
otherwise, if we
I,
ran fair and true elections, they wouldn't get elected.
see, my dumb ass was still, it's funny. I didn't learn about the white woman DEI joint until probably in the last probably 6, 7 months.
Oh, for real?
For a long time, I was thinking when DEI really meant people of color, and looking more into it, I realized, wow. And then I say that makes sense because diversity, equity, inclusion. Diverse doesn't mean just race per se. It means
Yeah.
different male, female, disability, non-disability, whatever the case may be. You may have a certain condition, whatever, but they want the people to have the diverse, equitable, and be all included. You know what I'm saying? I
Yeah.
never knew when I saw those numbers. I was like, my goodness, and it shows once again how I believe the right wing over there has been successful to make you people think that DEI benefits people of color. When the
Yeah.
numbers show, number one, it benefits white women.
And the hard part is that because white people don't like it's hard to hear like you're doing something like crazy, right? Like it's just like I guess that's just human nature. But I learned, back in the when cannabis was getting legalized, um, they were giving programs out in Maryland uh to minority groups. And
Mm,
white women are the largest minority group in the country. That's what I learned when that happened.
that's
And in Colorado, it had to be a woman-owned group, but it couldn't be a white woman-owned group because generally her husband was just owning the business through her name. So they had like limited how many white women could sign up. So if you if you wanted to get into the cannabis business, you had to have like a certain amount of minority ownership. And 50, like it had to be like a portion owned by women, a portion owned by another race. But that's when I learned that white women were the largest recipients of welfare, of DEI, of whatever it is that we give out, they get the most of it.
and reason why people they get the most of it is because there are more of them than it is us,
Yeah. There's 178 million white people in the country.
and they keep always forgetting that.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? They always
Yeah. There's a
like,
gang of them youngins out.
you know what I'm saying? The white folk is 71. I think it's 71% of the voters in the electorate this past election was white.
Yeah.
So like, but that's crazy when you think about it. When you say white women are the largest minority group, they really are. They're considered a minority because it's the white male that's considered the dominant, more white
Yeah. It's
men.
everyone not white heterosexual male.
That makes so much sense. See, but they done a good job convincing the masses, or basically their supporters who push back, because of disinformation, misinformation, that no, DEI is usually somebody of color. When you say DEI, because that's what Trump and them are trying to aim that DEI towards. It's
I'll
the
do
white.
you one even better. They convinced white people it's other people. That's who they convinced. They ain't convinced that like we didn't think it. Spanish,
Oh
Latino
yeah,
people didn't think it.
oh yeah, you're right.
It's white people that think that DEI need someone other than them. So when they get rid of the DEI, it's white women that are like, oh damn, I'm losing my job. Oh damn, do you cut food stamps? White women are gonna lose food stamps.
The majority of people that use food stamps on
Yeah.
rural areas, man.
So it's like they convinced white people that it's everyone else. Like you're not the DEI recipient. It's all of them and they're taking from you. And it's like, the problem with the country is that we just have too many poor people, right? Like white, black, any other color, it doesn't
Oh
matter.
yeah, yeah.
It's
There's
just
way
too
more
many
poor,
poor people.
way too many.
Way too many. So it's like poor people get to pointing fingers at each other. But it's like, dog, we all poor. Like it
And
don't
see,
matter what color you are. There's far too many poor white people.
that's the issue. That's why they're saying at the end of the day, it's. I remember John Bryant saying that there's no way they can have an economy or run a GDP. There's not enough white men
Yeah.
to run GDP to actually be able to go out here and control. They have to diversify, and you have to because if not, unless he said unless you want your people to start speaking Mandarin or Chinese, and Chinese going to take over, and then be able to be number one everything, you're going to have to diversify. You just
Yeah.
don't have enough white men to maintain GDP.
Yeah.
You just don't. You know what I'm saying? So at the end of the day, they understand that they have to. Well, people who understand the way this works is that we've got to a point where you can't. It's over. You know what I'm saying? For not in terms of. See, they keep thinking that if that somebody's out to dominate them or somebody's out to control, it's just a matter of the times are changing, things are different, and we got to adjust to that. And guess what? In terms of you being the minority or you being a majority, it's still going on right now.
Yeah.
It's still the majority right now. But you see why also they do a lot of the shit that you see them doing now with rules and laws and trying to figure out this push because they know by a certain time, I think it's 20 the year 2040, whatever the case may be, they
The
want
browning of America.
exactly, yo. And like you said, but the issue is ultimately is because there's a majority of white people, but more white women,
Yeah.
than even white men. But because of the fact there's a majority of white people, a lot of the stuff that goes down, like you said, man, is really going to affect. It's
It's
going
gonna
to.
affect them. It will affect them.
I mean,
And
I'm trying to think like, how can you say it doesn't? I
but it's
mean,
already affecting them.
and because when you cut their food stamps, and you're directly hurting them because these Republicans states are the poor states in our union as well.
Yeah.
I mean, because they run states like shit because they don't govern at all. They
They
just
just take it. They just take from poor people. That's what they do.
yeah, they literally
And
just
then the
allocate
coastal states send
programs.
them money.
And there's like you said, there's so many poor people. And like I said, mostly that's mostly all of us. That's why they always say the 1% to the rest of the 99%.
Yeah.
Because really, meaning when we say poor, don't mean you ain't got nothing. It means you don't own assets, so you don't own stocks or bonds, and you don't have all this portfolios
Yeah.
that these billionaires or these millionaires do. In terms of if they were not working, their money is still working for them. For most of us, we're working for our money. I know I'm fucking him.
Look, every day.
And the fact of the matter is, what we're looking to do, that's why we're just trying to make shit more equitable. Because I think people have been conditioned as well by, and I think it's all part of the plan. That's why they always prop up billionaires. They always have TED talks, and maybe we've had a culture of people who are rich and famous, like the limit of lifestyle of the rich and famous.
Yeah.
We've always been conditioned to revere the rich because of the fact of the matter is, and usually be like, man, if we can get there and what they do and how they go about doing it, and that would be something. You know what I'm saying? But the fact of the
Mhm.
matter is, a lot of times when I heard this stat the other day, I thought it was crazy. They said about out of 8 billion people in the world, only 9 million people actually have $5 million.
Only 9 million people.
9 million out of
That's less than a percentage.
bro. So at the end of the day, the chances are, more times than not, that you're not ever going to be rich. You're never going
Yeah,
to be wealthy. You're never going to have a lot of money in
true.
terms of like wealthy overflow with riches. But what we can have is a government that when we pay taxes to, for the people and by the people, that are able to our tax dollars to provide basic services that people, the American people, would not have to worry about taking out of their own pockets, i.e., health care, i.e., pay family leave, i.e., um, affordable housing, federal minimum wage increases, stuff of this nature. But what happens is when we try to push for those things, or when you hear people that say, even about taxes, they say, man, when I want to get rich, man, I want to be rich because, I'll be able to dodge my taxes. Rich people get to dodge their taxes, man. You know how they do it, and they always, we should be told what? Rich people, the way they don't pay no taxes is because of what? Because they smart.
Mm.
Yeah, but at the same time, they're deliberately doing something that's taking away federal revenue, and they're lying about what they're making to finagle the system, take away the revenue that we can need as our country, because they're able to finagle and figure out ways not to pay something or move some money over here. But we've been told, when you're rich, man, that they're smart, man. They always know how to dodge, and not pay all their taxes, and we
Mm.
would think that's dope. Well, really, that's not good.
That's
You
why
know what
we're in
I'm
a
saying?
deficit.
It's not good for the country.
Yeah, we don't raise enough money. That's why we're in a deficit.
That's why we're in a deficit, and all we have to do is I think it was, what was it? I think in 1940s, was it the tax? Was it the top, what,
The
70,
top tax rate was like 90%.
like 90%?
Yeah. But check it out. So look, I heard something interesting this week,
Yeah.
right? And the thing about economy, so I went and got me a little book on the economy. Because where do you learn about the economy at, for real? That's the real question. Like, where do you learn the truth of it? Right. So there's all these different perspectives. But I'm listening to NPR this week, and an economist by the name of his name was Richard Thaler, Thaler. You heard of him?
No.
Okay. So he was saying that if you took all the wealth from all the rich people, all the yachts, the homes, the stocks, all of it, from all the rich people, from all the millionaires and billionaires, how many months do you think we could pay our national? How many months of spending do you think that would create?
If we took all their money from every rich person,
All their wealth, all of it, like all the
all the,
property, all the stocks, all the yachts, all the everything they own. How many months do you think that we would of spending do you think we could create? So it's less than a year.
uh, 'cause I'm thinking how many years? I'm gonna say 25.
8 months of spending. And then that money's gone.
Really?
Then that money's gone. So like the truth is, and he was saying that
8 months?
8 months, if we took all of their money and liquidated it into cash, only 8 months of spending, right? The truth is that they do pay a lot more of the percentage of the tax than we do. He was saying that the bottom half of America pays about 3% of tax, of like a 3% tax. The truth is that we're supposed to be getting taxed more if we want to clear this deficit up, right? And I'm like, it kind of makes you wonder, right? Because you hear Bernie Sanders go, oh, it's a 2 cent tax. We can end child hunger and give everybody, and it's like, will that really work? You know?
I think it's but like you said, if you were able to Because I think it's a matter of just income. I mean, if people were making more money,
The
let's
thing
say
would be higher if people were
like
making more
like
money
e-
too.
like people in the bottom 90%. Because the thing is, this is the issue to me too as well. People the bottom 90%, you right. I mean the top. I mean the top was it top 90% or whatever, or the top 10%.
The top 10%.
Um, the tax rate. I'm sorry, what was the tax rate at that
So
time?
it was a 90. It was a 90. The top tax rate was 90%.
Child tax rate was about 90% at that time, or even now, whatever the tax rate. I don't know what the tax. I know it ain't 90%,
No,
whatever
no,
the
no,
case may
no,
be
no.
now. But I think the situation is also people who are too poor. 'Cause a lot of you people who are poor don't even pay income taxes.
Yeah.
They barely make any money to pay. Usually, they pay taxes based on just the normal goods and services that they buy all the time. But a lot of times, is I get it. They're too poor to pay taxes.
Mm-hmm.
The rich get away with paying. They get away with paying a lot of their taxes. So then you have a lot of things that suffer because I ain't about saying, hey, we got to tax the fuck out of the rich. But if the people who are on top, who hoard all the wealth, would just allow stuff to be more equitable, and
Mm.
people below can make more money and ride themselves out of poverty, or have programs where they say, guess what? If we had universal health care, I don't think people would care if their taxes would be a little higher, knowing that they never have to fucking worry about a medical bill ever again. Like ever again. No matter what it is. It
I
could
think
it,
most people agree with that.
what it is. You know what I'm saying? It wouldn't matter. So I think people will pay more in taxes. Let's say if you want to do family paid leave where the government gives you over 12 weeks once you have a baby paid off, the government gives you a payout. People will pay a little bit more in taxes to be able to have that taken care of. Certain, and not every, we're not trying to get people rich. We're not trying to give them. It's just certain things because why do we pay all these fucking taxes and nothing comes to us, to the working class? Definitely, and all the benefits continue. Even these past Trump cuts that he's trying to make permanent. I mean, the Trump tax cuts that
Yeah.
he's trying to make permanent now, that he's trying to do right now. You saw the top. It showed the data came out. The top 10% to 1% of owners got all the benefits.
Yeah. It's a 1.5 trillion
Yeah,
wealth transfer to the
and
rich.
it added over a what $8 trillion to the deficit. Now,
Yeah, minus COVID spending, I think it was 6 trillion.
and they said also in the last 50 years.
He added the most to the deficit.
It's been like, boy, in the most 50 years, it's been, in the last 50 years, it's been over almost a $40 trillion transfer of wealth
Yeah.
to the top in the last 50 years. Because every benefit, because once they were able to take over and once they were able to have more influence in our lawmakers, the rules of the system started being rigged towards and favoring them,
Goddamn Citizen United, man.
bruh. It really is the bane of our existence. Money in
I
politics
mean,
is
in politics, yeah.
that's the core of all our issues, bro. I mean, in terms of why we don't have the things we do not have, and like you right, to go back to what Bernie said, if you were to tax the rich at a fair tax rate, now what is that tax rate? That can be discussed. I'm not even saying to go back
Yeah.
to the 90%. I'm not even saying that. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. But in terms of something where they're able, like you got these capital gains, all kinds of ways they're able to avoid it. They usually or they borrow money, and money don't got to pay any taxes. That they use it against their, as collateral, whatever they're coming, whatever the case may be for money, and they live off of that. And they live off the interest in ways they can avoid paying any taxes there. Like if you can get avoid a lot of these loopholes because even after they pay taxes, this is the situation that blows my mind. These guys are these multi billionaires. Even after I remember I saw a chart. If they were actually taxed like they were supposed to with a progressive tax rate,
Mhm.
they would still be billionaires.
Yeah. If Elon Musk got a progressive tax rate, he'd still be a billion. He'd still be the richest man in the world. Well, I don't know what these oil guys got over in Saudi Arabia,
And
but
it's
he'd
just
be
like,
close.
yeah, you know what I'm saying? It's just like you still be a billionaire. Why? Why? And then you tell yourself, then you know why. Because also power comes to play as well.
I mean, well, you'd still have that power. You'd still be richer than everybody. How you lose it?
It's like, but it's almost like if people are more equitable and people can take care of themselves more,
Sure.
they feel like they lose some power.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? People have, you know, people actually feel they got some relief. They're making a good amount of money because, based on inflation, if wages were actually kept up with inflation, I think they said the minimum wage would be like $28 an hour right now or something like
Yeah.
that. Just a living wage. Now, obviously, because people should be able to work 40 hours a week and be able to take care of their business.
Yeah. It's $28 living wage, man. In
If
these times. Well, federally, all over the country, it'd be
federal,
$28. Yeah.
if it's federal, but I'm just saying living wage. Now, that's not even not saying that that's the bottom. Not saying you're gonna be able to.
Yeah.
Uh,
If you live in Arkansas with that.
you can, you know what I'm saying, but that's $28 an hour. Then if you do get a part time job
Yeah.
that works out, and let's say then there's universal health care, then your money's not coming out of that check for your health care for your full time job. So you're
Yeah.
making that money on top of that. You know what I'm saying? On top of that, $28 an hour is actually $28 an hour
Mm.
compared to there not being that. You know what I'm saying? It's like, and it's just this. It's just a start in terms, but it's not about making people the government trying to make folk rich. It's just with inflation and how stuff is now. I saw something the other day. It was Goodwill, and who my wife loves Goodwill. I mean, she just stays in that fucking
The thrift store?
thrift store, Goodwill. Yeah, um, she stays up in there. But the other day I saw for her one assigned full time, 40 hours a week, 14, 15 an hour.
What am I supposed to do with that in
What the
Virginia?
fuck you gonna do with 14, 15 an hour, bruh?
It's like 15-year-old wage.
That is no money. And but they're offering full time employment with benefits. Then at 14.50, and they're not paying 100% of the cost. So the 14.50 plus taxes, and you're not even making it. You're making what? Taking home
Nah.
$10 an hour, $11 an hour.
Nah, yeah.
But then we live in a society in a country where everything, the cost of stuff keeps going up, rent's going up, stuff is too high, but they don't want to pay nobody nothing. But then they want to say, well, get grind out the grind life.
Save it on some coffee. Don't
You
go
know
to
what I'm saying?
Starbucks.
Take the coffee, be out there 150 hours a week. When you got these millionaires, they not working like that. Back in the 1970s, it used to be the pay between a CEO and a regular average worker, I think was like 38 times, something like that. Because
Yeah.
it's not about the people who sit on top not getting paid the most. They have the most responsibility, the most accountability. The
Yeah.
buck stops with them. But
Yeah.
now you go to 2025, and now the average CEO makes over 330 times more than the average worker. It's
How much?
330 times more.
Jesus Christ.
Dude, working more than we're working more than we ever worked,
Yeah,
but
we're more
getting,
productive than we've ever been.
but getting paid less than we've ever been paid. Overall, you've had a little wage growth places, but overall, people still overworked and underpaid for the most part.
Yeah. Especially considering all the like health bills and
Yes,
care and
yes,
debt from school and
yes.
all that other stuff.
Daycare, and then then Joe Biden tried to do um
Tax credit, the child credit.
the child tax credit, which was no, that was awesome. That was probably
It
the
was
best
amazing.
he ever did. That cut the child poverty rate by 50%. But then
Yeah.
what does he do? Because as a Democrat, what they do, that is sundown and don't make him permanent. Didn't fight to make him permanent. They did all that shit because they absolutely had to because of COVID. They did not want the economy to tank, so they said, "God damn it, we gotta give some of this money to the people. We ain't got no fucking choice." That's when they were giving out them stimulus. They gave an
Yeah.
1,200. I'm sorry, an extra 600 a week to people on unemployment, and then they were doing the child tax credit. But the one I was going to, they were talking about the Biden student loans.
Oh yeah.
But then he tried to do that, but then he got it blocked by the Supreme Court. Then went through the Higher Education Act, but did something differently where he could still wipe it clean. I thought he could have did that, but he didn't. But like you said, all those stresses all those things, that you have on top of that daycare. I mean, some people pay $15,000 a year for fucking daycare to take their kids to daycare.
I feel like that might be on the cheap side too.
Bruh, especially if you got a newborn, you paying like 400-500 a week. I think my brother
Yeah, I'm
pays
about to say my brother
around
just
like
got two
300,
under four, and I
but you
think he
gotta
pays
pay
about six hundred
$200
dollars a
every
week.
week, bruh.
I
600
think he pays $600 a week
for what?
for his kids. He has two kids.
In daycare?
Yeah, I think that he pays about $600 a week for both
That
of them.
shit's nuts, man. Think about that. Some people pay half of their rent. I'm sorry, half of their expenses, their monthly expenses,
In
eaten
childcare.
up by childcare and their rent. And then everything else, you're trying to figure out how you're gonna rob Peter to pay Paul.
Mm-hmm.
Well, like you say, we talk about it again, 70% paycheck to paycheck, bro. I mean, that's what's going on right now.
Far too many poor people, and you can't pursue education honestly
No, but the thing is,
if
there
you're thinking
are.
about your next meal.
That's what I'm saying, and also you can't focus on what's going on in politics or what maybe somebody trying
Yeah,
to do
you're
to
too
fuck
poor to
them
pay
out.
attention.
Overworked, underpaid, and so then really what you do, you just sit down. And if you do watch a news network, you're just gonna listen to what you see and just take their word for it. You're not
Yeah,
gonna go and take the time to look up something and see what it is and see what it's not. You're not doing any of
a lot of
that.
people just don't know how to.
But it's the strategy that they wanted. That's what they want. Why do you think they attack education? Why do you think
Yeah.
education? They don't. They destroyed the Department of Education, but it wasn't like it was doing. It wasn't booming anyway
It wasn't making our kids more literate.
in terms of across the country, because some areas just have really poor education. It wasn't making our kids literate whatsoever. It just wasn't, like you said, it wasn't doing it. But the fact of the matter is, but why that stuff takes investment? But why investment does not occur? That's when the corruption is baked.
Corporate greed.
And that's when the
Okay.
corruption is baked into the pie,
Yeah, in order to have all that wealth, you have to have some inequity somewhere,
bro.
right? Like it's gonna happen. Someone's going to be poor. You need a worker class, right? Like nobody bringing factories back to America is a noble idea. But if no one's going to be able to work that factory job because we're going to change all the factories to robotics and AI,
That's
and
why.
then people aren't educated enough to get the jobs to fix the computer, so we got to import an engineering class, which is all the
They don't want to educate them.
huh?
They don't want
No,
to
we
do.
don't want to educate them. We don't want to educate them, and that's what I'm saying. So it's like that's the reason why they're doing it. It's like
It wasn't, but this wasn't even about talking about Donald Trump wanted to bring man. It wasn't about him bringing manufacturing back to this country. He was trying to figure out a way to put tariffs. He thought he can bully, and like he said the other day, they were just kissing my ass. They were kissing my ass.
I wonder if anybody actually called that man.
Who knows, man? I mean, I'm probably sure a country or two called him, maybe some poor country that can't
Yeah,
afford. No, but China said fuck off.
they said 110%.
And then Lutnick, that idiot, talking about, we're gonna have people over here putting the little batteries into the iPhones. Nobody wants to do those fucking jobs in
No, and
America.
y'all not finna pay $30 an hour for them to do it.
Because
That's
over
gonna be
there,
$5,000 if they
come on, man, 'cause over there in China, unfortunately, them countries have different laws in terms of their labor laws that they can, because really in China, though, the government controls everything too.
Yeah. But
Yes.
I heard it like this though. It sounds bad, but our jobs over there is what propped up the Mexican middle class, right?
Mm.
Right? Like so these people that have never been able to earn $35 in a day, right? Now get to pay for their kids to go to get an education in the university in the city, right? Like so although it's like, oh yeah, we're not paying them adequate, it's more than what they would receive working in the rice field. You know what I'm saying? We do prop up a lot of economies that way. with those jobs because you can't pay Americans to do it.
No,
If we were paying Americans fucking $25 an hour to pick watermelons and lettuce, our lettuce would be crazy expensive.
crazy expensive because
Crazy.
you do that type of work can't equate can't function or business with that type of high pay.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like you said it'll make stuff. That's
The
what
margins would be too small to grow a
yeah,
business.
because people want get like these $25 an hour, they gotta do all that payroll. They're gonna pass it on the consumer to pay that payroll.
A head of iceberg would be $30.
Come on, man. Like they said, you want shoes to be if you want shoes to be made in America, they say, be prepared to spend $300 for them.
Yeah, for a pair of Crocs.
Because
Not,
you,
not even like the nice shoes.
cause you see right now, in terms of how much it is, if you see, you put a piece of your clothing, you see made in China, your shoes, whatever the case may be, all that we do because we import more because our economy, excuse me, is 70% consumer. So
Yeah,
obviously we import more than we export. So a lot of times, we import stuff in because we buy a lot of shit as Americans. We consume 70% of our economy. So
we're
we
a large
import a
middle
lot. So at
country.
the same time, when you're going to import all that what we're doing, it's like, look, man, but you're putting tariffs on these companies that are bringing shit in.
And a lot of goods are cheaper produced to other places.
Yes, and while we have deficits, because let's say bad like Madagascar. Madagascar makes vanilla because of our climate. Like we don't make bananas here, we don't make avocado, we don't make vanilla because our climate just doesn't
Can't
allow
make
it
no coffee.
to make coffee. But Madagascar makes vanilla,
Yeah.
and they send it over. But we put a 40. We smack them with a tariff. They already what are they going? What do they import from us anyways? They import nothing from us, and then their companies. The country's already poor. You think whatever they do get, their companies can afford? That
Which
could
is why they slap
well,
us with the tariff. We
if
have it.
any company sends them something from America, they got to pay a 47% tariff. Any company in America sends them something. It's like the reason why you guys we pay. You guys pay a certain tariff. We pay less because we don't import nothing from y'all. So it's going to clearly be a deficit. If we import more than you guys import from us, we import more from you than you guys import from us. I said it like 3 times. It's going to be a deficit.
Yeah.
Period. I mean, it's just easy. This shit is easy.
And them folks don't have a way to raise money the way we raise money in our country.
No.
So because we're buying from them, and it's the influx of American dollars into their economy, which props their economy up. And I mean, like
I
he's
mean, China,
transacting,
I heard
which
China
is
even has a
scary.
booming middle class.
Huh?
It's booming. They have a booming middle class now because with the government has being there and they subsidize, but they make pay good wages. And you see how China looks. The government controls everything, but they take care of the people. And they have
A
a
lot
booming.
of poor people in China too, though.
What you say?
There's a lot of poor people in China.
Oh yeah,
You
yeah,
know,
yeah.
but
But they do have a booming middle class
they
there
do.
now that they did not have years past because they didn't really have nothing years past. They have more, but like you said, there are poor people, and like you said, at the end of the day, you have to figure that's the part out of putting stuff in place is just give them opportunities because it's not even opportunities about just being if they pay taxes. Now, if
Yeah.
there's somebody if they pay taxes any kind of way and they're just taking money out, if money coming out of their paycheck, they're paying income taxes, whatever the case may be, we should make sure that the stuff, the basic stuff can be covered. That's it, man. And healthcare is such a big thing just a single payer healthcare system like every other developed country on this planet has. Like you go to other countries, you ask them, hey, tell me about Blue Cross Blue Shield. They're like, what the fuck is Blue Cross Blue Shield?
Yeah.
Who's that?
Getting an ambulance is $25.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying?
They gotta call Uber when they go to the hospital.
Like my brother, he went over to Thailand and Bangkok a while back. He went to the dentist and shit, got all his dental work done over there.
Yeah.
Pay nothing, like $5, something stupid, like compared to whatever it was, but nothing because that stuff is usually covered mostly by tax dollars, so they can, even if they charge something, it's very little.
Yeah.
Compared to here, where dude, my God, you go to the dentist, you got to take out a second fucking mortgage. You get some dental work done, bruh.
The moment I got insurance, I went to the dentist.
And
And
dental insurance is bullshit still, and it still ain't nowhere near enough. Cause me, my wife and I, we got some dental coverage, but we did it out of our pockets,
I got one from work, and it was still expensive.
and we were
I
paying. I
spent
think it was
$2,500 on my mouth.
how much was it a month?
No, I said I spent 25. It came out my check, so I don't know.
Oh,
But
we were paying
I
about.
am just saying, I fixed my teeth, and I still spent $2,500 on
But that's what I'm saying. And you
it.
paying insurance,
The insurance was good.
bro, and you still had to drop
Still
$2,500,
paid the insurance.
bro. How do they come up with these calculations? I just do not know,
Our tax system is broke. That's what it is.
bro.
Like it's broke.
But really, it's broke because the corruption is baked into the pie. It's baked into the cake. It's broken because people who have gotten in, and as you said, greed and power, and they corrupt it, and they allow corporations to take over, and everything benefits them.
Mm.
It's rigged overwhelmingly towards them. Like right now, we totally live under corporate rule.
Yeah.
I mean, we live under it. You know what I'm saying? We completely and totally live under corporate rule. Every part of our life is commodified. And like even like perfect example of I put on threads today,
You
posted
did what today?
on threads,
Huh.
threads too, threads only the noble on threads, only the noble on Instagram, and at West Say on TikTok. But I put on threads that one thing Donald Trump has done
Mm.
once again to, in my opinion, is that he's exposed this late stage capitalism that we're in, this parasitic bacteria eating system that is this late stage capitalism. Because think about it, we've been told for years, we've been told now, we know when we were told the market is, the Dow is at 4,000, the S&P 500, numbers are 2,000, over 40,000, whatever those numbers mean, but high economy, high market, then that means to us the economy is booming. They tell
Mm.
us high market, market's high, 40,000, record high. The economy is booming, but then the working class seems to not feel any of that.
Yeah.
Privatize the gains. But then you say, but then you see what happened with these decisions, these economic moronic decisions that the president in the White House currently was doing, and you saw what the situation that he was making, and then it was causing what, the market to start to tank,
To get yippy.
to get yippy.
To get yippy. Hey.
And basically he was saying people just complaining to me, just getting yippy. I decided to. It's victory. Like, bro, like what the fuck are you talking about, yo? I'm
Yeah.
just say yippee, yo. Not
It's
the yips.
yippy. It's yippy. I said, this dude, he's a goddamn fool.
But look, the market drops, it's tanking. Then what do they say? Working class, you gotta prepare for some pain.
And could you imagine being
And they
62?
socialize the losses. And that is capitalism, bro.
Yeah.
Because when everything's booming, they say it's great. We see nothing. Everything gets in the fucking dumps. All right, American people, embrace yourself. Embrace, embrace. Like in the 2008 crash, where once again it was a self-made crash by fucking idiots in Wall Street that was trying to try to take short-term profits over long-term health. Millions, billions were lost. Jobs were lost. Foreclosures. Who went to jail for that?
Not a damn person. Not one.
Come on, man.
Not one. What do you think about all the deportations and how they're fighting the courts?
Hell last report I read, and I got to look up it was, I think it was 75%, according to a report, stated that 75% of those Venezuelans that were deported and sent to their prison, 75% of them did not have a criminal record. Did not.
That's crazy.
Did not. According to, I'm going to look it up right now to making sure. According to CBS News 3 days ago, 75% according to Mediate 3 days ago, the 238 migrants sent out, and I'm just reading here for our studio, not our studio, people who are listening while I'm staggering here. They had 238 Venezuelan migrants flown to Texas, and it looks like up to that, 75% of them did not have a criminal record,
They just be
according
telling us
to
anything.
CBS. Did not
You
did not
froze.
have. Did I freeze?
Yeah, you froze.
Oh,
I can hear you, but you froze.
I came back. I won't bring it back to the bottom of the map. What the heck? I think it's tripping. All right, here we go. All right.
There you go. There you go. There you go.
So yeah, 75% of the 238 that were deported, 75% of them did not even have.
They weren't trending the agua. Oh,
Yeah, they did not have a criminal record. That's crazy, man. And and once again, like, he's just trying shit, and they gave him, I guess, an administrative stay to the gentleman in Maryland who was found to be having protective status, who they still took and shipped him down there.
and admitted that it was an administrative error.
Yeah, but then they said, well, we can't
Can't
keep
do
him
nothing about it.
because he's in another jurisdiction, which is bullshit. You got to think about it. But you can send them there, but you can't bring a guy back.
Could you imagine being sent to El Salvador and you're Venezuelan and you ain't did nothing wrong?
It's terrifying.
Like it'd be one thing if you sent me back to Venezuela.
Terrifying. And the one guy that got sent back, he specifically not to get sent back there in Maryland. That's the place he was coming from, running from gang prosecution. He felt the gangs were coming after him, and he thought he was scared for his life, and they
Yeah.
sent him back there. And now he's there, and they put a stay on it. Chief Justice Roberts in the Supreme Court, meaning that he had a deadline to bring him back. They put a stay on that order, so now it's on hold to try to give a couple days to whatever their plan is. But they did say, though, and all 9 of them did say going forward, that deportations, if you make them, they have to have due process.
Yeah.
So now it's funny, you got people like MAGA people who were literally arguing stuff because the minute they came in here illegally, they forfeited due process, which is just fucking stupid. I'm like, what are you talking about? The only thing they did is come in legally. They did nothing else, but because of that, they're not giving any due process. Like, that's not who we are.
And due process isn't limited to
That's
citizens.
at least what we're told. That's not who we are. And yes, in the
It's
Constitution.
not limited to citizens. And yeah, that is they're quick to say they love the Constitution,
Oh, that's only until it benefits them.
right?
I mean, think about it now. They're trying to come up with bills and trying to come with bills to uh calm these judges, to saying these judges are being too involved. These judges are making these injunctions, and you can't have one federal judge make an injunction and it covers the whole country. It got to be one judge in his district. Not one judge can do a federal thing, and the whole country's affected by it. But and Biden administration, there was 14 Republican judges that blocked 14. That put injunctions on 14 different times on the Biden. We didn't hear anything about, oh, judges. This one judge decided. You remember meth was it the abortion medication? Then the one judge in Texas decided that it can't be shipped over state lines anymore.
Mm-hmm.
That stopped the whole thing. One judge in Texas stopped the whole thing. But now Jeffrey Roseberg, that was stopping the deportation, and said, "Look, we need answers. What's going on? You're giving me bullshit answers. Who I told you not to send these people to send this plane out. Somebody did anyways. What is going on?" They're like, nah. The Republicans, how dare he? No, he needs
Yeah.
these activist judges. They're activists.
And there'll be a Trump appointed judge or a Bush appointed judge.
The one dude is a Reagan appointed judge that blocked birthright citizenship.
Yeah.
What about Reagan? They activists. Hell, we got 6 of them on the fucking Supreme Court now, activist judges. If you ask me, you think Alito, Kavanaugh,
Legislating from the bench. That's what they doing.
Clarence Thomas,
Can't stand that dude.
motherfuckers, politicians in robes, bruh.
Yeah.
But see, that's the thing that drives me so crazy about the right wing, yo, and it eats at me because they also know that they can be hypocritical, and it's
Mm-hmm.
almost like graded. It's almost how they get graded on a curve. It's like how they would say on Fox News, if Joe Biden did any of this stuff, I wouldn't be saying a word. They're saying like Jesse Waters said it the other day. I wouldn't say a word if Joe Biden did that, and they all laugh like, because they know good and well if Joe Biden did any of this shit. Even what Obama said the other day. Imagine if I pulled Fox News' credential from the
Imagine if he was going around locking up Jewish students that were anti-Gaza.
and just picking up somebody off the street because they wrote an op-ed on Israel. Imagine that. Imagine if he does any of that, any of this behavior that this man is doing. It wouldn't be tolerated. They'd be losing their fucking mind.
He didn't do anything, and they said we want to make him a one-term president. That was their goal. He hadn't even done anything yet. They've been trying to dismantle goddamn Obamacare since the beginning.
And they didn't. It didn't work. But
They
then,
can't be the party that takes healthcare away.
but then it brought about Trump. And this is what they're trying to do right now. They're literally trying to take healthcare away with this next resolution.
Fucking dumbasses, though.
Well, now the issue is though is that they have some hardline Republicans. They're like, bro, guys, because remember, they're saying, no, we didn't. We did not say cuts to Medicaid or Medicare. That's not what we're saying. But the resolution bill that they passed, that Trump signed, it called for the Energy and Commerce Committee to find $800 billion in cuts. The Energy and Commerce Committee oversees the Medicaid funds,
Yeah.
and I think almost 550 billion of it. They make up most of the pot. So you literally cannot cut $800 billion
Without cutting.
without cutting Medicaid.
Yeah.
You cannot do it. The
And they
same
can't you can't explain that to your constituents.
you can. You try to tell you, and then you say that's why, guys, you cannot. They keep saying, "Oh, we're not going to cut it." Yes, they are, and they're looking to try to cut it to try to offset as much as possible. That's what they were trying to do with these tariffs too, maybe on the back end, trying to offset as much as possible that tax cut. That
All of
five.
it is the tariffs, the $5 million gold cards.
I saw that. Oh my! He
It's,
asked. I mean, you know, the
he's
dude,
selling rush cards.
and he's on the face. Like he's literally. It's almost like now he's like, you know what? I don't know if I'll be able to be a dictator forever, but for these 4 fucking years, y'all motherfuckers better buckle up.
Yeah,
I'm
I'm
gonna
gonna do a lot of stupid shit to y'all.
in my right to even just look, just to even have the feeling of being a dictator. Like you know what he's trying to plan for his birthday.
Yeah, the military parade.
That's gonna cost $96 million. He wants tanks. He wants fucking tanks on the road.
Is that what how much that shit's gonna cost?
They said an estimate $96 million.
$96 million.
Yes,
Look,
of
that's
our
like a year worth of golf trips for him now. So.
bro. That's what he and but he wants like some
He wants
great
to be Kim Jong
exact.
Un. He wants to be Kim Jong Un. A strongman oligarch.
And see, the issue is they asked Marion Bowser, the mayor of DC, who I almost had on here as a guest in 2020.
Oh,
And
for real.
yeah, I was talking to the team, but they got busy and they were able to.
Okay.
But shout out to them for talking to me. They just, she got busy, caught up. But we gonna have her on, even if she's not the mayor. I think that I want to next. I think she won re-election, I believe. So I don't know how long her term is. But she even said, yeah, they've been approached. But the thing she was saying is the military stuff. She's like, no, like because if you're gonna have military tanks on the street, then we're gonna need the billions of dollars behind it to repair the fucking streets because you're gonna have fucking tanks going through them.
They tear up the streets too.
Yeah, the tank. You put 2 million of them damn tanks out there, no motherfucker thinking he wants some big old, flyover and it's my birthday, King Trump. Like that's the thing about Trump too, bro. He doesn't all this governing shit. He don't want no part of. He just loves the part that he is the president, and people say
Yeah, that's it. That's it. He loves the celebration of it. That's it.
he doesn't want none of the other
He doesn't
boys.
want to govern.
He's like Elon Musk, you do it, man. Hey man, bring Doge in. Whatever y'all want to do, man, y'all go ahead and do it, man. Hey man, just plan my party
Mm.
and let me come through and say I'm doing stuff. And let me hey, they even got a guy, whoever this dude is now, if you notice, because he doesn't know what he's signing before he does these executive orders. The guy tells him, he says, right here you are
Oh,
signing
it's Harold.
to declare that wokeness is no longer going to be tolerated in any type of dogtopia anywhere across the country, sir. Sign here.
Yeah, he's doing it just like a monarchy in the medieval times. He has a herald and everything.
Decree. It's just like it's not.
My man is playing president, man. That man had a lifelong dream of becoming president
How
and
you go
started playing president, man.
the title for the podcast?
What'd you say?
The title for this one episode. He's playing president.
That man is that man is crazy. Did you hear the
Just one
theory?
on TV.
Did you say that again?
He's just one on TV.
That's it. That's it. You know what I'm
I'm not
saying?
a president. I'm just one on. I just play one on TV.
I just play one on. That's what he's doing. He's playing president. You know, like you used to play house when you know what I'm saying, with your sister or whatever. You play with your toys or whatever. And you create a game. It's like I'm in charge. That's
Yeah,
what that dude did.
I can remember after the whole thing with Zelensky. What did he say? All right, guys, that's over. This could be great for ratings. I mean, like he's so focused on TV, he's playing president.
Playing president for sure. The dude's a dumbass.
He is, man, and that's the thing I tell people. He just know it's like if somebody said, "I could be president with no restraints."
Yeah.
I give you
But then
Donald.
there's so many people that support it though. Like I don't like the people that are under him are not in the same position.
Well,
At least he's a billionaire or a pseudo billionaire, whatever he is.
but he tapped into one thing that Trump did is that he definitely did tap into a a faction of group of people that have felt left behind, that felt screwed because their system. This is the thing.
They're so stupid.
Donald Trump has a flair of authenticity, a flair of it. He's very charismatic, and he has a flair of it where it can make you feel. That's why do you think he's the New York con man? Why do you think the man was able to be so relevant for so long, even to the point in our hip hop growing up? We used to revere Donald Trump because all the rappers be like, yo, rich like Trump. Trump was like, we related that with money and riches and all that kind of stuff. That's how we related with Donald Trump when it came with him. But then, so he already had that cultural pull on people, especially black folk. But then he tapped into this sect where people have been left behind. Capitalism has or this corporatism, capitalism, late stage cronyism has manufactured jobs. It's crushed the middle class. People,
Yeah.
people are not making no money. People are living paycheck to paycheck. People don't have enough. They have more month than they got money. People have all these stuff that's going on. And he said, this is the thing. He said, I hear you. But he was able to do in a way where all he had to do was hear. He never had to execute. And
Yeah.
was never been held accountable for not executing. Because he's so good in just the flair, but he never been held accountable for actually not executing what he said, but he was always taken for, but what he said resonated.
Yeah.
Right. But when he didn't execute, there was no, hey, it was, well, it's Biden. It's what they not doing. It's the Democrats, it's Biden, it's wokeness, it's transgender, it's CRT, DEI, you name it. It's everybody's problem, but it isn't his. That's why
The,
what does he do now with this signal chat? When he what last week, it went from if it's great, if it's something great, yeah.
I didn't know about it if he
If he
didn't, if it was bad. if
bruh,
it's good, I was responsible for it. If it's bad,
don't know
you
about
know
it.
what you're talking about.
It is fascinating, and people buy it. It's fascinating. I've
And
never
he's allowed to do it, and people say, "Oh, because he's like that." They don't really care. They'll forget about it.
the media says that, or that's just Trump, but that's not right. He's a liar. He's a con man. You're saying, no, that's just Trump. No, no, that's not right. And that's the issue with the media that pisses me off. Is that they both sides the fuck out of this and make you think that somebody that's saying Peter Navarro by saying tariffs are not a tax on the consumer. And they're like, thank you for coming on, Peter Navarro. Talk to you next time.
Because
No,
they
he
won't
should
come
never
back if you
all
do
the
that. If you don't do that, that's fine. They won't come back.
what it's about crazy. That loon should never be on platform again. He's lying. He's literally saying, no, no, it's not a consumer. It's not a tax on the consumer. That's a blatant lie.
Yeah.
And it's like he comes back on the next week. It's like, what are we doing?
The best thing Trump did last time was that he didn't get any legislation passed. Like he didn't do anything last time. And I thought honestly that he was going to come in, not do anything again, and then like just take advantage of whatever the economy was that Biden left him. Because truthfully, Biden left him a booming economy.
But that's not what
Inflation was low,
yeah,
jobs are coming in, the
it
CHIPS
ain't.
Act is about to start rolling in and bringing companies back. The
What is
Infrastructure Act is about to start. People are about to start feeling it. But
well,
nah, he came in and started touching shit.
Mike, you're discussing reality.
Yeah.
The right wing does
They
because
don't
they
live in reality.
have to create an alternate reality for these people to live in. Where now you have Harris Faulkner. I keep going back to her saying that no, you know, these tough times just mean, in wartime when people had to come together and make weapons and sometimes struggle. It was wartime and they were showing their patriotism. So they have to come together.
Yeah.
Like they create like that's what's going on, or don't worry about the stock market, or what Will King said the other day. Now this is a chance for America to restructure the
When
American.
did he become such a dumbass?
Restructure the Americans.
When did Will Kane become such a dumbass?
Thing is, he's not, Mike.
I used to think, nah,
A lot of these dudes aren't. It's just they're pivoting because this is it.
because they was wrong.
But it benefits them money wise, bro. You have to think about
Yeah, you're right.
the right wing is not only that it's so well funded, like Prager University, Daily Wire. These right wing ecosystems, they're funded by right wing millionaires and billionaires because their job is to focus on culture wars and much division as possible while they get paid by their donors and while everybody else can continue to fight amongst each other and then nothing ever gets done.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, man, that's
The
what
Democrats do it too, though.
that's what I'm saying. But I'm
Yeah,
just saying in terms of the right wing being so well funded, the
yeah.
left wing we don't have on the left. Now, I'm not even talking about the Dem. I'm talking about the left.
Oh, you're not talking about the establishment.
That's the establishment. The left, we don't have anything like that. We don't have any donors, any rich donors, because we are literally against everything they stand for. We want Medicaid for all, paid family leave, a higher corporate tax rate than 20% that these corporations are paying. Like, we want stuff that they don't want. So obviously they're not going to fund us. They're not going to fund. We're not going to get nobody to fund our show and be sponsored and then become these multi-millionaires and then go on college campuses trying to convince kids our bullshit, i.e., Charlie Kirk with his Turning Points USA going on college campuses trying to convert people, but then going on campuses and but saying that there's no need for college, or saying that college or college should never what did he say? College should be something where, what did he say? He was on that Jubilee when he was going against several people, and then he was,
I cannot
I
tolerate
forget what it
Charlie
was,
Kirk.
and he was saying something about college and student loan. He said, "Well, if you don't believe in college, or how about this?" He's talking about student loans and
Mm.
college. He said, "Well, you don't believe in college, and but he said he basically the person told him, if you don't believe in college and you have an issue with it, how about we just go ahead and make college free and eradicate colleges, so at least if anything that nobody's getting robbed, or they're going out there taking their own chance to go on it if it don't work out, and it's a liberal bastion of indoctrination." And I'm paraphrasing because I may be wrong, but matter of fact, scratch. Let me go back to remember what he said, because I don't want to say it on the record and not be correct. Because he says something very specifically in terms of colleges, but it made a good point. I just can't remember off the top of my head. So, here on this podcast, correct me mistaken, we're going to be accurate. Or if we're not, we're going to make sure that we correct because we ain't one of these misinformation podcasts, the disinformation just telling you bullshit. Now we're going to tell you what our opinions are, what we feel about things, but we're going to be knowing what the facts are. We're going to give you our opinions based on the facts that we have. Now, are we going to always agree in terms of how we look at a situation? No, but we're going to give you the facts of it. No alternative facts here.
No alternative facts.
That's
The
because
fact that you have to say that is crazy.
when she did that, that's really started everything, man. When he won and she said that, and
She goes,
people
but we have alternative facts.
was like, "Holy shit!" And it's what somebody
A
should do.
brand new game after they say that.
There should be like a documentary on just her saying that and how that literally has developed this monster where we have and we're gonna go on this one. I know we can go forever, but
Oh, it is 9:30. Man,
it's like they have a what are we talking about?
alternative facts.
Alternative facts.
What world do we live in? when, when there's all you got the facts, but I got some alternative ones, right? I'm gonna set you straight after you tell me the truth.
But it literally started this world of, like I said, now an alternate reality, alternative facts, alternate reality. They literally have these right wingers living in America where it's transgenders on every corner. Gay people are going to take your kids and turn them gay.
Yeah.
There's another invasion coming. The caravans are coming hot, and they're going to come and pillage your neighborhoods and rape your children and imprison your husbands and enslave
And steal your jobs.
and steal your jobs. They're
And
going to
steal your
steal them jobs. What
jobs.
jobs? What jobs? Don't know, but they're going to steal them. So, man, so that's really, that started that. So, I mean, this is, even though, like I said, this has been a 10-year period of this candidate, two-time president now, where I really am looking forward to see. I wonder how historians will look back at this time.
Look at him like what's that dude that came after Abraham Lincoln?
Who after who?
The president after Abraham Lincoln. Who's on Andrew Johnson? So Andrew Jackson is on the $20 bill.
He was who?
Andrew Jackson, he's on the $20 bill, right?
I believe so. Yes,
All
yes.
right. So Johnson was the one that came after. Uh, he was the one that ended Reconstruction and pulled the military out the South and
Mm-hmm.
gave reparations to the slave owners.
Mm-hmm.
That's Trump. They have to write about him that way. There's no way that you can protect this dude's history.
Can't
Like he's gonna look like a dumbass in the halls of time.
just did. He just literally did this war and he blinked.
Yeah, and the worst part is that he like once
Tariffs.
he backed up all the tariffs, there's no other plan. It's like, all right, so why'd you do it? Why'd you cost me $11 trillion?
Why? For what? For nothing. And now you talking about this 90-day pause. He's just doing that trying to save face. And what they're going to try to do within these 90 days to get them tax cuts put through. So at least they can get them tax cuts. Those corporations may not cry as much because of all that money they lost with this bullshit stunt that he pulled.
Nah, they only moving $1.5 trillion. We done lost $11 trillion in the market. You think that 1.5 trillion gonna like split and you've already lost more than we were transferring.
Fucked up on that. You're right. You're right.
You know, and if I lose $1 trillion, I gotta make $2 trillion to get it back.
Yeah. And how you raise their revenue. Tariffs!
And gold cards.
Gold cards.
This big beautiful gold card.
Gold card. They're going to pay $5 million.
My man said they're getting yippy.
People have $5 million.
People are being yippy. I said, oh man. Oh man. This dude is
Do
he told us keep a cool booty, man.
good booty. And don't be a panicking. That was actually pretty good. The panicking one, I kind of give him credit. That was pretty good. I got to give him that. Panicking. He said, don't be a panicking. Don't be.
Oh yeah. This True Social post. Don't be a panicking. Damn.
I give you that one. Panicking.
Yeah. He's good at his job. He's just a dumbass.
He's good at his job at a con to the point that he became the president of the United States.
Twice.
And with that, we'll end the podcast. All right, y'all. We appreciate you guys for listening. We'll be back next week.
Yes, sir.
My brother, good to see you as always.
Likewise, man.
Let the people know who you are.
Michael Punch.
Yeah.
See me at Finesse A. Williams.
That's it. All social media. Finesse A.
On
Williams.
Instagram. I'm only on Instagram.
That's why that matters is Instagram.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm a bigger fan of Instagram myself. I'm just starting to try to do the other ones because I keep hearing TikTok. I guess now we got this new extension. I guess I could use it.
Oh, they extended it, right? Because it was the 5th that they were.
We're not gonna get into that. That's a whole different, but that's a whole nother podcast because all of a sudden now another extension. Interesting.
Yeah, they can't lose TikTok. They lose so many votes if they lose TikTok.
No, but the thing is but you gotta blame Biden for them for that shit. They did it. That happened under Biden. That last bill was in that TikTok ban because they were mad about Israel.
Yeah, but they also talked about it under the first Trump.
Yeah, I'm sorry. You're right.
They got brought up.
You're right.
Selling TikTok under the first Trump presidency. So.
It was, and then
it's just a good idea for national security.
And then they came smart, for national security.
For national security,
got to make sure the national security, and that's what they did. They went on ahead this time, and actually did it because of the fact that too much pro-Palestine propaganda was out there, according to them, propaganda. Just the truth.
We haven't talked about Israel yet.
Palestine, when stuff was getting bombed and they were getting carpet bombed, they're just showing their phones and just showing what's happening. That's it.
Yeah.
No, that's all actors. Okay, we're done. We keep going that. Hey, until next time, man. We're gonna holler at y'all, man. Appreciate y'all for listening. It's correctly mistaken. Love everybody. Hate no one, man. And take it easy. What you say, Mike? Have a cool what, yo?
Keep a cool booty.
Keep a cool booty, yo. We're gonna holler at y'all. Peace.